All right. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. It is Wednesday, 9:15, and we are so excited for another episode of Daybreak Live. We have a very special guest today. This is Michelle. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. So happy to be here again.
Heck yeah. So we're going to be talking about Draper Law Office. We're going to be talking about holiday parties. We'll talk about dangerous incidents and why Draper Law Office is going to be the best choice for you and all of your legal advice. And again, my name's Krissi. I'm with Positively Osceola. And honestly, Positively Osceola just wants to spread the good word about what's going on in and around Osceola County. We want to talk about anything that's new and exciting, anything that the residents need to know, and then also just amazing, wonderful businesses, just like Draper Law Office. So we're going to get that going, and let's play the video and make it official, shall we, Michelle?
I say we do it.
Okay, here we go. All right. Well, we are official. Everyone, good morning and welcome to another episode of Daybreak Live. My name's Krissi with Positively Osceola, and today we have a very special guest. This is Michelle Incandela. She is an attorney with the Draper Law Office. And Michelle, I would love for you to just say hey to everybody. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, Osceola. My name is Michelle Incandela. I'm an attorney with the Draper Law Office. I've been here longer than I care to remind everyone, but I've been practicing for well over, I think coming up on 25 years now. So yeah, I was lucky enough to join the Draper Law Firm over a decade ago. And we're just been doing our thing in Osceola County and trying to help as many people as we can over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. And Draper Law Office has been around since what, 1984?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Draper Law Office is probably one of the most known attorney offices in the area, which is wonderful. And I think one of the biggest reasons why Draper Law Office is so successful is because they focus on two very specific things, right? Like family law and personal injury. And those are very important things to a lot of people, obviously really big issues. And Charlie Draper is still in charge of the law office, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you work with him.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
Charlie.
cool.
Yeah, Charlie's actually at a conference today, at a continuing legal education conference. Getting even more expertise than he already has. And but yeah, he's very active and still here. Almost 7 days a week. And that's just Charlie.
That's insane. Okay, so what's your background? You've been doing this for almost how many years?
Well, I mean, I got my first license to practice in New York back in 1997, and then I started practicing down here in Florida in 2001. So it's been a few years. Yeah, I do exclusively personal injury. The other specialties that you talked about, I know you've had our amazing attorney Linda Krasinski on the show before. She does exclusively family law. And Charlie Draper and myself, we practice personal injury. And we're very, very lucky. I mean, we have such an incredible base of clients, and we are able to, as a small firm, focus on our clients. We really value the relationships that we have with them. We do a lot of one-on-ones, and there's a lot of communication, a lot of contact, and our biggest referrals come from our prior clients, which is, it's a great honor because, we're able to help people. And fortunately, when they recommend us to other people, it makes us feel that we're really doing our job.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, like you said, that's the greatest compliment that you could ever get is a referral from someone else that you've worked with.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's hard to think about is that right now, we're in November, we're almost to Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is just around the corner, and then we have New Year's. And obviously, the holidays are meant for celebrating and making memories and being together and eating lots of yummy food. And, but oftentimes a lot of mistakes can be made, and a lot of trauma, and maybe even a little drinking, and people can make mistakes, right? And that makes the holidays extremely dangerous. So
Right.
how does Draper Law Office kind of handle that, or like what's your advice on making mistakes and when things happen?
So, the first thing is to let everyone know, that we're here. Unfortunately, you're right. The celebrations around the holidays lead to an increase of people being out later than usual, an increase of parties, an increase of drinking while driving, and other impaired while driving accidents. People are also rushing around a lot more to get all of their holiday preparations in. Tempers are flared, and people are not as careful as they normally would be under those circumstances. So it does unfortunately lead to an increased number of accidents. So first, we want to let everyone know that we're here for you, and if you are involved in an accident, just give us a call. We're experts in this, and we can help you through the process. And help you kind of put your life back together and do what we need to do in order to get you well situated. It's a terrible, unfortunate circumstance, but it does happen. And the other thing is that to let everyone know there is not a lot you can do to avoid being in an accident. I mean, sometimes you're just sitting at a red light and you're rear-ended by a careless driver.
Right.
There's crossover accidents where unfortunately people cross over into your lane of travel. And no matter how hard you try and how careful you are, sometimes it's just not something that you can avoid. But there are certain things that you can do in advance to protect yourself as best you can. First is your vehicle. Keep your vehicle in good working condition. Check your tires, check your pressures, check all the things that you need to check to make sure that nothing mechanically is going to go wrong, tire blowouts and things like that can possibly be avoided. And the second thing is nobody likes to hear that you should pay a little more to your car insurance, but it's such an important part of, unfortunately, our life in Florida. There is no requirement in Florida for drivers to carry bodily injury coverage. And that means there's absolutely no requirement that someone carry the type of insurance that would compensate you or your family member if they caused an accident and really hurt you guys. So a lot of people misunderstand that, and they come from other states that have completely different requirements. So unfortunately, here in Florida, there's a lot of circumstances that arise where someone's in an accident. It's not their fault, but the other driver doesn't have that type of insurance, and they don't have a coverage, which is the type of insurance that protects you from that. And there's nothing that we or any other law firm is going to be able to do that can help them. There'll just be no way for them to recover, no matter how badly they're injured or their family members are injured. So while nobody likes to hear you should call your car insurance company and make sure that you have this coverage, and if you don't, add it in. And it's something that we really recommend that everybody does, because I can't tell you how many times and how heartbreaking it is for us to have somebody come in that really needs help, that has medical bills and has serious injuries and was in an accident that just wasn't their fault, and they were just minding their business, and this happened to them, and they're injured or their family member's injured. And because there's no coverage, there's no way for us to recover anything, and there's no way for us to help them. And it's really heartbreaking, really frustrating. So I know people don't like to hear it, but check your car insurance policies and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage. And if you have any questions about it, call me. Call Charlie, call the Draper Law Office. We'll help you work through the insurance questions. It doesn't matter if you're not a client. We'll help you understand the coverages to make sure that you're at least situated there. And then just hope that the holiday celebrations are safe and everyone has a wonderful and safe time, and that you never ever need to use it. But if you do, then at least you'll have that in place.
That is so smart. Thank you for sharing that with me. I don't think I have that. Not gonna lie.
Well, I'm so glad we did this today, because we're going to have a chat afterwards and make sure that you add that in there.
Well, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I probably don't. Because we all want to pay the least amount, but in the long run, it's accidents can happen every day.
Well, it's not just our fault. The insurance companies that sell the policies, they tend to sell you the other type of coverage, the coverage that they would have to pay out if you caused an accident. And they know that you're a safe driver, so it benefits them to have you, and you're a safe driver, so they're likely not going to have to pay any claims. But the other coverage is one that they really don't, to talk about very much, and their whole sales point is, we can save you money, we can save you money. They can, but a lot of the times they do that by cutting the coverages that are the most important to you and your family. There is really no more important coverage than uninsured motorist coverage. That is the coverage that protects you and your family if you're involved in an accident with someone who either doesn't have any or doesn't have enough insurance. And it happens all the time. I have to tell people all the time, I'm sorry you have $30,000 in medical bills, but there was no coverage on the other car and you don't have I'm sorry that you have these serious injuries. I'm sorry you broke your wrist, and that you're going to have symptoms of arthritis in the future. There's nothing that I can do to help you. And none of us lawyers that practice in personal injury are going to be able to help you. And people don't understand why, but here in Florida it's really, the insurance coverage is really what's going to afford you the protection, whether it's their bodily injury or your coverage. That's really where the recovery comes from. It's very, very difficult to go after someone personally outside of insurance. People don't seem to understand that all the time. They can very easily get a judgment and win a case against somebody, but collecting on that judgment is very, very difficult. And a lot of the times people that don't have insurance, they don't have assets to protect. So even if you got a judgment and you won your case, there's still no way for you to recover. There's no way to make you whole. So I know it's a tough conversation, and we all have to look at it. It's not something that we talk about, very often, but yes, please, everyone, if I could just ask you one favor, check your insurance policies and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage. I promise you that's the best thing you can do for you and your family.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you for that advice. Okay. New question. What if we make a mistake? What if we decide to drive when we're a little drunk? What if we hit someone? What if we get a DUI? How does Draper Law Office help with situations like that?
So Draper Law Office wants you to not drink and drive.
Of course.
Draper Law Office, that's something that is devastating on so many different levels. But we do not handle those types of claims. We handle claims of people who are injured by drivers under the influence or careless or reckless drivers. So we don't want you to be doing that, everybody. We want you to be safe. And unfortunately, it does happen. And when that does happen, that is going to be something that the insurance company, for the at-fault party, for the intoxicated or influenced driver would have to deal with. But yeah, we don't want that to happen to anybody. And
no,
we want our clients to all be safe.
Yep. And obviously with the holidays, a whole bunch of people are going to be traveling in town in Central Florida. There's tons of different places to go, lots of different things to see, different theme parks and attractions. What's the risk like there for, personal injury?
It's interesting. And Charlie and I were just talking about this again last week, because we've noticed ourselves, and we just can't explain that people are more aggressive on the road. It seems like everyone is rushing someplace, and people are making just absolutely crazy mistakes. And sometimes it's intentional. I mean, I've been in a situation a couple of times where people are driving the wrong way just so they can get around a little bit of traffic. And Charlie said the same thing. A lot of people have said it, and we're watching the stats that for whatever reason, people are not being as careful these days. So whether you're, if you're by the theme parks, understand that a lot of people who are traveling from other areas, they don't know these roadways. You even have people who are traveling internationally who get in cars around here who don't really know the rules of the road here. So there's some increased risk there. And just in general, what's been going on, the frustration and the aggressiveness that we see on the roads, and the carelessness, extreme carelessness that we see, is just leading to an increase. So wherever you are, whether you're by the theme parks or whether you're in local neighborhood or you go into work, go the extra mile to be a little more defensive. Stop when you get to that stoplight and that light turns green before you automatically hit go. Check both ways to make sure that traffic is stopped. And the pedestrians as well. We're seeing an increase in pedestrian accidents. I know that there's been a lot of activity and campaigns to create awareness of pedestrians, but again, everybody's rushing and they're going their own ways. They're not paying attention to people in those crosswalks. So if you're a pedestrian, don't just assume that because you have a walk sign or because there's a light that button that you pushed or because one car stopped that they're all going to stop. Make sure before you step off that curb and before you go into that intersection that they are in fact going to come to a stop for you, which they should. And as a driver, please be on the lookout for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so scary too, because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what's going to happen
right.
at any point in time. And I did read that too. There's a lot of pedestrians that are being struck or hit.
Mm-hmm.
What did I just read recently about? Oh, people running yellows or red lights in general. And a lot of people have been hit by that. Is that something that y'all experience?
I was driving behind an 18-wheel truck last night that clearly went through the red light in front of me. I mean, it's happening. I don't have the explanation for it, but it's happening more and more frequently. I tell my kids, when you're at a light and you're at a red light and that light turns green, don't automatically go. Take a second and just, look both ways and make sure that traffic has stopped, because more and more of those people are trying to beat those yellows and even going through the reds. You're absolutely right. And a lot of times, just as a side note, trucks will do that because it's hard to bring an 18-wheel truck to a stop as quickly. So sometimes if that light is yellow, that truck will in fact go through that light. I've seen that happen on a number of times. We've had a number of cases where that's happened. So just as an extra, note to people, when you see those trucks and those trucks are approaching those intersections, be aware of the fact that sometimes they will go through those reds because they can't stop it all the time. They should, but there are a lot of times that they're going on a speed limit they actually can't. So yeah, definitely be careful of that. But I tell people, I tell my kids all the time, don't be pressured either, because the new thing is that you're sitting at a light and the light turns green. And if you don't slam on your gas within a millisecond of the light turning green, 3 people are honking behind you.
Honking at you, yes.
They're, everybody's in, like I said, everybody's in a rush. And I tell my kids and I tell everybody, you just make sure. I don't care if the car honks behind you. They'll wait a second. It's literally a second or two. Make sure that everyone is stopped where they should be. But really, be extra defensive. Be extra defensive now and through the holidays and even past the holidays because of what we're seeing. Take that extra second to make sure that if you're at a stop sign, a 4-way stop, and the person that's supposed to stop actually does. I've seen a couple where they slow like they're going to stop, and they should, and you assume that they are, and then all of a sudden they speed up and go through. So yeah, it's crazy out there. Be extra defensive. That's my advice.
Yes. And the only person that you can control is yourself. Mm-hmm. So you might as well just CYA, right? Cover yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you for all that information. Obviously, this is not something that we hear every day unless we're in this type of business. So thank you for sharing that. Obviously, it's like a scary topic, but also very relevant and very important. So I appreciate you sharing all of that information with us.
You're welcome, Krissi. And thank you for all the great news and positively Osceola brings to us all the time. I'm totally a positively Osceola junkie, if I can admit that. I'm totally hooked to watch you guys all the time, and I'm always on your Facebook page. So thank you for everything that you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we kind of wrap everything up, tell us a little bit about Charlie Draper in general and how long he's been practicing, and just why we should feel comfortable choosing your law office over any other ones.
I love talking about Charlie. Charlie he is absolutely an incredible person, and he has been practicing here in Florida since 1984, but I think he started practicing in New York, I think in 1979. A complete expert in accident injury cases, but just such a decent human being. And Charlie is, what people don't know about him is people used to assume that, attorneys were working light hours in the office and then out playing golf and doing other things. Charlie is such a a workaholic and so devoted to his clients. A lot of times he's in still 7 days a week because he loves his clients and he loves what he does. He really does. He has a passion for this type of law and the practice of law, and he loves helping people. He goes the extra mile for everybody, and he's had clients that come back to him since 1984, since they've been here. If there's anything, and they will come to us. And what we love also is that they'll come and they'll say, hey, we have a question. We need somebody to do real estate. Well, we don't practice in real estate law, but they trust us. They know that we're going to find them someone who's going to do a good job for them because we do a good job for them. It's important. And the way that Charlie, runs this practice and runs this business is that the employees who are here, most of them have been here a very, very long time. I think our office manager's been here since 1984. And most of the people that come here, they just don't leave because he treats his employees wonderfully as he treats his clients. He's a genuine person who really, really cares and goes the extra mile. And he expects big things from his employees too. I mean, he expects his clients to be treated, very, very well. And there's a high expectation and a high bar, which is wonderful because that's really what you want. It's really all about the clients at the end of the day.
Oh, that's so nice.
He's a great man. He really is. I don't know anybody who has anything bad to say about him. I mean, he's a true people person, very, very kind, very smart, and his clients they just love him. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's really special. Thank you for sharing all of that with us.
Welcome.
Now, I know you have offices in Orlando and Kissimmee and St. Cloud. So what would you say is the best way to get a hold of you, Charlie, your office in general?
Yeah, so our main hub, our main location is Kissimmee, and usually if we have clients in Orlando, we do have a satellite office in Orlando, and in St. Cloud, a lot of times the clients prefer to actually even come here because it's usually pass by where they're working and in their travels. But our website, draperlawoffice.com, has all the information on it. I know most people are on their phones or their tablets or their PCs getting info these days, and so our website pretty much has all of our contact information.
Love it. Okay, cool. So that is basically going to sum up this whole conversation, and it has been such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for sharing all that information. You are wonderful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe.
Yeah, we're going to close it up with our video, and we'll see you next week on Daybreak Live at 9 a.m. Thanks, everybody.